everyone, welcome back and welcome to the last video in the series on this amplifier. I'm glad that I will be able to finish it, finally. It's going to be a short video because I haven't had that much time. There was also not still that much work to do, but in the past couple of weeks I haven't had that much time to work on it because I had to wait for some parts to come in. I explained that in the last video. I also had to I also spent some time on some other hobbies. I didn't really do much in the workshop in the past couple of weeks. I spent some time in my darkroom again. Has been quite a while since I've made some darkroom prints, so I can show one up on the screen here. That's the last one that I did a couple of days ago. And from time to time I switch into these hobbies, so then I spent a bit less time in the workshop here. And that's why on my channel then sometimes the time between videos can vary quite a bit. So sometimes I have quite videos following each other quite rapidly, and then sometimes there is a bit bigger gap. So that's what happened right now. But anyway, we're gonna finish this amplifier. And what I did in the meantime, I did do some work. I applied all the service bulletins. So I showed you in the last video that I did have the service bulletins for this amplifier, and they contained quite some instructions, mainly on how to reduce the distortion, and I applied all of those. So let me show you on the schematic. I already explained this in the last video, so if you want to have the bigger or the more extended explanation, you'll have to watch the previous video. But basically all the components here marked in yellow on the schematic are the ones that I changed in the amp, and they were mentioned like that in the service bulletins. So the resistors all here in the phono stage, they were all swapped from carbon film resistors to metal film resistors to reduce the distortion. These transistors over here, they were swapped from a BC148 to a BC549B, and which is the equivalent transistor but the low noise version. And then here in the next stage I also have some resistors that were swapped from metal film. And then over here in the I think this is the preamp, I guess it's the tone amp. There are two resistors which were swapped for a different value because they prescribed to swap these for 5.6K, so I did that. Now, if it had any effect, I don't have a clue. Because I measured the distortion before I did this. I put in a signal on the pickup input. I measured the distortion on an input signal of 5 millivolt RMS and one of 30 millivolt RMS, and then I did all these changes, and then I did the same measurements again, and the results were nearly identical. Maybe slightly better, but I cannot tell. The problem is a bit that my setup here at the moment doesn't really allow to do distortion measurements for the phono input, because the voltage level is too low and my cables, they are not good enough to send in the signal without a distortion on such a low volume or low voltage signal, sorry. So I don't know, I guess it will have helped, but I cannot measure it, so no clue. My setup generates way more distortion than what is generated by the circuit of the amplifier. Now let me just quickly show you here what are the components that I swapped. So the two transistors that were swapped, that's this one and that one. You can see that they are a more modern package and not these lock fits anymore. These are the one that came out. These were still perfectly fine. They actually measured quite a high gain for a 148B, because the B is the gain category, and they were quite high actually. But they are still perfectly fine. Then all these I just hit my lamp here. All these blue resistors are metal film ones that I put in, swapping the original ones out. All the original ones were still measuring perfectly fine, but in the service bulletins they said to swap these out to metal film, so that's what I did. If you wanna see them, let me just grab them over here. See, so those are all the ones. There are more. Yeah, there are more. That's not all of them. See, so these are the ones that came out. Yeah, that actually took quite a bit of work to do all that. What's next? Oh, yeah, this is also something that I fixed. So you maybe remember from the last video that one of the VU meters wasn't working anymore. And I suspected that it was due to this transistor, the AC127. And I swapped it out, and indeed now the VU meter is working perfectly fine again. So this is the original one that came out, AC127. Now I had to find some online. These are annoyingly NPN transistors, and I want to keep it as close as original as possible, so I want to have an original part in there. So I tried to find AC127s, and the only ones that I could find were these ones. That's the AC127K. Where is my bag? See, over here. Those are AC127K. Now, that is exactly the same transistor as the AC127. The only difference is the package. Well, not even the package. The fact that it has a heatsink around it. So if you take one of these, see, then you'll see on the bottom that's just an identical transistor. See, this is the original one, AC127. It's just the same transistor, but mounted it in this rectangular heatsink, also with a hole so that you can screw it to a heatsink. And yeah, these can dissipate a bit more heat than these ones, but for the rest, electrically and electronically, they are identical. So you can always swap an AC127 with an AC127K, or I think the AC187 and AC187K. Anyway, you can also always swap a germanium transistor with their K variant, obviously, if you have the physical room for it. But here in this case, that's not an issue at all. There's more than enough space to put that transistor over here. I bought these because, yeah, they were the cheapest that I could find. If I wanted to buy a really this package AC127, it would have been more expensive. So that's done, and the VU meter is working again. Then the next, oh yeah, now we are there. We can calibrate the VU meters, because that's something that I still need to do. Let me grab the service manual. Okay, so I don't know how well I will be able to show you this, but this will have to do. They say in the service manual that you should connect a 4 ohm dummy load to the speakers. Then you should increase the voltage until you measure 2 volts across the dummy load at 1 kilohertz. And then the dial should be, or the pointer should be in the middle of the dial. So what I am doing here is I have a 4 ohm dummy load. Well, it's about 4 ohms. And I have the oscilloscope connected across the dummy load to measure the voltage. I don't have that in screen, sorry. And I'm just gonna do what they say. Now, it's not gonna be totally accurate, because these meters, they will never be super accurate. That's not their purpose. See, the center here is 1 watt. And they will be then calibrated, quote unquote calibrated, for a 4 ohm load. And if I'm going to use this amplifier, I will probably connect an 8 ohm load, so then they will anyway not be accurate anymore. What is much more important is that they are equal. So that if you are playing a song and there is a bass, for example, which is equal on both channels, that both meters are moving in the same way. That's much more important than that they are super accurate. So I'm just gonna up the volume here. I have now a signal only into the left channel, and I am at 1 volt RMS. Let's go up. I am at 1.5 volt RMS, 1.9, 2 volts, 2.05. Let's go a bit lower if it is possible. Yeah, this is exactly 2 volt RMS, and yeah, the meter is a bit to the right, so I'm just gonna adjust that with this potentiometer over here. That's the wrong direction, and nope, I can't adjust it. See? So let's see at what voltage we are exactly in the center, and that is 1.4 volt. So what I did now is I set the left one here to the maximum that I could set it to, and the right one then I set to the same level, and then they are both 1.6 volts RMS. And I think my dummy load is 4.5 ohms or something. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing I did was related to another service bulletin, and that is this one over here. And then they say to swap a resistor and put some diodes across the light bulbs to increase the lifespan of the bulbs. And they also included a drawing. See, so what they say is that you should swap this resistor, so that's the dropping resistor before the light bulbs. That was originally a 560, I believe. Yeah, 560 ohms. So they say drop it to a 470, 2 or 3 watts. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, 2 watts. And then put a diode, a Zener diode, a 5.6 volt, I believe, Zener diode across each bulb. So it's basically the same diode as they used here, this clamping diode for this light bulb. So I did that. So that is the dropping resistor, and that was originally this 560, and that had been running quite hot, as you see. It was still fine, it measured still perfectly fine. But since I had to swap it to a 470 anyway, I went for a 5 watt version. And then across the bulbs here, see, I put Zener diodes to clamp the voltage across the light bulbs, the 3 light bulbs, to make sure that, yeah, the voltage doesn't go above the 6 volts that they are rated for. And I think that's about it for this amplifier. So I think it is time to put everything back together, because I've also been cleaning. All the knobs have been in the ultrasonic. I have refinished the wood, well, a bit. I'll show you the result. So it's time to put everything back together. Finally. Okay, and here we have it. Everything is back together. The front plate is on, all the knobs are back, and as I said, all the knobs have been in the ultrasonic cleaner. The front plate has been fully cleaned. The top wooden panel, I applied some furniture renewer on there, and afterwards some wax, some beeswax or canuba wax. And yeah, it turned out quite well. I think it looks great. And yeah, whoa, that was a bit overexposed. Yeah, this metal plate here is reflecting my bench light quite a bit, so let me tape this down a bit. Oh, that's better, right? Yeah. Now, wait, what did I want to say? Yeah, for the cheap version of this Philips amp, let's say, I think it looks quite neat. It'll probably not attract that much attention in your interior as the original Philips one, but still, yeah, I think it looks really neat, and it's really vintage. So, and it does sound great. We heard that in the previous video, so if you want a demo of this, I suggest you watch the previous video. I'm not gonna demo it again because I guess not a lot has changed. And if the sound has improved with my swapping of these components, then you will not be able to pick that up anyway through my microphone that I have here right now. So yeah, really happy with this. Front panel is looking great as well. All the bulbs are working. I think this will now look great in any interior. So if I ever manage to set up or build a setup here to test this weird stereo 4 function, then I can make an update video, but that'll be not for now because I don't have the room here in my workshop to do this. Maybe some point in my living room, but yeah, I will create an update video if I manage to set it up. But I think that's it for now. Yeah, glad that you're still here and hope that you enjoyed the series. And I hope I'll see you soon on my channel for a new project. So thanks for watching, then see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.